Hello, hello. It's Lynda here from Homelea Lass, and welcome to my first video. Oh, sorry, it is a video. First virtual studio visit. So this session is all about Homelea Lass. We're going to be talking about all things Homelea Lass, and if you've got questions for me, pop them in either the comments or the chat, and I'll definitely answer them later on. So let's dive in and get started. So what we're going to go through today is what is Homelea Lass? How did it all start? What is it like behind the scenes? How to support small businesses that you love. And just a little overview of what the Homelea Lass kits, patterns, and online courses are like. How does shipping work at Homelea Lass? If you need some help from me, how to get it, and then we'll answer your question. Okay, so diving in. So what is Homelea Lass? So this is just the top of the high level kind of thing of Homelea Lass. And there's four parts that I've boiled it down to, and these kind of come into every decision that I make with Homelea Lass. And so that's valuing you, frustration-free crocheting, being gentle. Oops, if you're joining us, can you just please mute yourself, please? Being gentle on the world that we live in and supporting Australian small businesses whenever possible. So let's dive into each of those a bit more. I'm just going to flip back and change it so it's, if you are here with us, I'm just going to mute you if you're in Zoom. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to show myself. Oh, here I am. Okay. So that's what I said is Homelea Lass. There's the four main principles that kind of make up every single decision that happens. And so the first one is valuing yourself, and that's valuing you as my customer. So Homelea Lass doesn't exist without you, basically. And that's central to every decision. And it's like having Homelea Lass as a way for you to crochet and relax and to be more mindful, and because you're totally worth it. And each kit that I make is made for you. Like, you get to choose what you have in it and what you don't have in it. You've already got something. And so each kit is made just customized and made just for you, and I pack it just for you. So the second one is taking the frustration out of crocheting. Like, I believe everybody can crochet, but it's just a matter of having it explained in a way that makes sense. So I go to the extra effort to make sure my patterns are all super well designed and easy to follow. And that the online courses are helpful, and there's video tutorials that show you what to do the entire way through the process. So if there's a bit where you're stuck, you can just pop in and do that bit, or if you need to watch the videos to make the entire thing, they're there for you. So you can make the entire thing from start to finish, and they're showing you exactly what to do. The third one is being gentle in the world that we live in. It comes under being ethical and sustainable, but I like to think of it as being gentle in the world that we live in, like making choices and doing things that don't negatively impact the world, the environment that we're in. And so the crochet kit's full of natural fiber yarns and quality tools that last. So the yarns that aren't going to sit in landfill forever and leave an impact for future generations. And they're tools that you'll use again and again and again. So it's like a quality over quantity kind of thing. Supporting small businesses whenever possible. So absolutely, I do that across the entire range of Homelea Lass. Like, our yarns are all made in Australia, so made by other small Australian businesses. They're grown by the wool is grown by Australian farmers. The packaging is made in Australia. And like our labels, so labels and flyers are printed in Ballarat, so it's another Australian small business. So absolutely wherever possible. And if there's something I can't source within Australia, so for instance the Chiagu crochet hooks, they're the best quality ones that I can find, and they actually are another family business. They're just not here in Australia, but they're absolutely the best quality. You'll use them forever and a day. It's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but you use them again and again and again. And I know that because I've used them for a long time as well. And they're beautiful to use. You'll actually want to use those crochet hooks. And I suppose a kind of a broader view of Homelea Lass. So Homelea Lass is a micro business, so it's me. Homelea Lass is pretty much me, and it all happens on a remote cattle property. So I'm out near Quilpie in southeast Queensland, and when I say remote, so I'm about a 2-hour drive to the post office to drop off parcels. So parcel drop off doesn't happen every day, but yes, it's 2 hours in and 2 hours back. So lots of fresh air. So flipping back to our slides, what's our next section? So how did Homelea Lass start? And this is not the normal story for how a business starts. No, back to over here. There we go. So Homelea Lass started in not the best circumstances. So it was when I was struck down by chronic fatigue in May 2012. So we're kind of weeks away from Homelea Lass. And for me, living with chronic fatigue for almost 11 years. And basically it was overnight. It really was overnight. It couldn't even be boiled down into hours almost. I went from being energetic, productive. I was a construction project manager, lover of life, doing heaps of stuff, and to barely being able to leave the house. And when you think fatigue, you think fatigue, but this was exhausted to a new level. I knew what being tired was like. I'm not scared to say I did burn the candle at both ends, but this was a whole new level of exhaustion and tiredness. There was a lot I couldn't do without being exhausted. But I did find that I could sit and crochet, and that didn't leave me exhausted. So that was a good thing to do. I had done a little bit of crocheting before, tiny bit of knitting, had done a fair bit of sewing. But knitting, I went dropping stitches. I just don't have the brain power to deal with that. Sewing, I tended to get very frustrated. So it was not a good thing for me to be doing, and sitting up at the sewing machine was too much. But crocheting, I could get comfy on the lounge or in bed and do that. And I found the movements and the yarns I was using really soothing and lovely to use. So I could crochet. And I was also reading a lot of blogs at the time. I started reading all these blogs, and was learning heaps of stuff about crocheting and yarn and all kinds of creative things. So from there, it was a natural progression to me starting my own blog, because hey, why not? And I just did it when I had a little bit of energy, and I could share photos and I could share words. And it was a way of me, I suppose, expressing myself in a way that I could when there were so many ways I was limited to express myself. And it gave me a way to connect with the world and interact as well. So the more I learned about crocheting, the more I wanted to learn about crocheting. Kind of it became the never-ending pit. And I also, because at that stage I was living on a farm, not here, but on a farm, and so was surrounded by farms, and there were cotton farms, and there were sheep, and I was using these fibers, these yarns, and so some were cotton and some were wool. And then I was like, well, how do I find an Australian? I started looking for Australian fibers and yarns that were made in Australia to kind of reflect where I was living. And I found it was really hard. It was really hard to find an Australian made yarn that was made from Australian fiber that hadn't gone overseas and come back again. And so as Homelea Lass has grown, I've grown. I've been rebuilding my energy and reclaiming some of my energy. I'm still a long way off normal in terms of what I can do in a day, and I may never get there. But what became important to me is that I live the life that I can. So I do what I can in terms of my chronic fatigue. And Homelea Lass has grown and evolved as part of that process. So back to kind of when Homelea Lass was starting and the blog started. Homelea Lass was a blog first. And I was sharing on Instagram what I was crocheting. I was writing and doing blog posts, and you can still see some of those blog posts today if you go back through the blog on the Homelea Lass website. And then I started designing patterns because I found I was crocheting things. I was making other people's patterns. So I was always adapting them. I'm like, oh, this could be better. And so I started designing patterns. And then I registered the business name and I got my ABN. So that was in 2014. And the blog turned into a full website and online shop. So they'd call that having an e-commerce website. So added that extra bit. So full new website, because it was just a free blog to start with. So it became homelealass.com, and added in the e-commerce, the online shop bit. And that's kind of when a Homelea Lass, I suppose, came of age, as you could say. It became real. And so it was crochet patterns to start with, and then I started adding in yarn. So Australian, where possible, Australian grown fibre or Australian processed fibre. Sometimes it was New Zealand processed, but grown in Australia. And then in turn, that all evolved to crochet kits and crochet patterns and online courses, like with the full videos. It has grown and progressed over time. And so one of the things that the chronic fatigue has kind of been special in the development of Homelea Lass is that my limited energy and my brain fog. So brain fog is kind of how the words say. It's like a fog in your brain. It's real, and like a really deep fog, a really thick fog. It's hard to get fog outside. It's hard to get through. That's kind of what a bad brain fog day is like. And so no energy, limited brain fog from chronic fatigue means that things need to be easy for me to do and easy for me to understand. I'm having a really bad day. And so that, combined with my experience as a construction engineer and project manager, like I've got years of explaining how to build something. So looking at the drawings and at the design and communicating that to a construction crew and saying, this is what needs to be built. This is what we need to do. And kind of working with them to say, okay, so how do we do it in a way that's going to be cost effective and going to be quick? And so refining and communicating. So those skills I had as a construction engineer and a civil engineer, combined with my new way of thinking with chronic fatigue, meant, and still does, means that I optimize is the word, that's a construction engineering term, but kind of maximize how easy something is to make. And I'll refine a pattern and a design until I know it's easy for me to have in my mind, and easy for me to communicate, which means it's then easy for you to understand and easy for you to make. So a simple and easy design, like it kind of goes like, oh, took no effort or energy to put together. This is someone just came up with it, but it actually takes a lot of work to come up with a really good, well-designed crochet pattern. And so that's part of my design process, is I make sure it's really optimized and easy for you to make. And yeah, so I keep refining the pattern until I know I can explain it with limited energy, which means it's easy for you to make. So moving on to our next section is, so that's kind of how Homelea Lass started. And if you've got questions for me, pop them in the comments or the chat and I will answer them at the end. So what's it like behind the scenes of Homelea Lass? So like I said earlier on, it is, so Homelea Lass is me, and I built Homelea Lass and set it up in a way that I can flux with my chronic fatigue. Like I said at the start, valuing you as my customer is my number one focus. So customer stuff always happens first, and everything else afterwards. So orders are always sent on time. I'm always making sure things happen when I say I can. And when I set deadlines, I make sure I give myself a little bit of chronic fatigue space. I set deadlines just in case. So it's me juggling a lot of balls. I do have the support of some people, wonderful people that kind of fill roles that I don't do or I can't do. And so I've got a pattern tech editor. So it's always important to have at least one extra set of eyes looking at a crochet pattern before it goes out in the world. I have a bookkeeper and an accountant, so they handle that side of things. I have website support. So I've got one main person, and then there's a few other people that dip in and out as necessary that help with keeping the website alive and working kind of more the technical side of having a website. And my husband and father-in-law do an excellent job of dropping the parcels off at the post office. It's very good. So it's just one less thing that I need to do to use energy. They can handle that side of things for me. So there's no normal days in the Homelea Lass studio. So when I say like I do pretty much 99% of it, I could be designing and writing patterns. I could be recording studio chats or doing training sessions like this one. I do some graphic design. I update the website and online shop. I do all of that side of the website myself, making samples, recording and editing videos, packing orders, answering your questions and your emails, taking photos, all the social media stuff, so the Instagram and the Facebook and the Pinterest and the Ravelry, getting Ravelry updated, creating the online courses and keeping them updated. It can be any of that. And I'm constantly learning. Homelea Lass is definitely teaching me a lot of stuff. And I don't always get it right. But I do always aim to improve. And so it is a lot, but like I said before, it's all set up so I can flex Homelea Lass around my chronic fatigue and still contribute to society, even though there's a lot I can't do. So Homelea Lass growing is definitely my journey of personal growth as well. So moving on to our next section. How do I support small businesses that I love? And I thought I would include this in today's session because I have a small business. And it's kind of nice. I suppose I can speak from what helps me as a small business owner, as a micro business owner. So I suppose we talked about, I touched on the social medias before, so like Instagram and Facebook. And so any kind of engagement is definitely helpful. And so engagement is a bit of a word. What does that mean? So it's liking posts, it's commenting on posts, even saving posts and sharing them on both Instagram and Facebook. Like for instance, on Facebook, the way the algorithm works is a heart is higher than a like, because the algorithm will go, this one's had lots of likes and comments and saves, so it must be really good, so we'll show it to more people. So that's good. So don't just scroll past, and I do this too, but I make a point of trying to stop and kind of at least press the like button. Commenting is even better, but yeah, don't just scroll past the posts of the small businesses that you love. Like just if even just a little like or a comment that could just be a smiley face or a heart, or a few emojis, or just say, oh, this is great. It means a lot, and it just means that our posts can be seen by even more people. Reviews are another fabulous tool, and as technology is evolving, this is getting easier to leave reviews. And so there's a few different places to leave reviews. Something that I've added onto the Homelea Lass website recently is you can leave a reviews on all the products, so all the patterns, all the kits and the yarns. If you scroll down, you can see the section to leave a review. And this is helpful for other customers to see that, yes, this is a legitimate business and this is something that might be suitable for me, or maybe it's not suitable for me. And it's also a way to help me improve as well. So it's, yeah, this is good, or maybe I need to do this better or change something to make it better. So reviews, honest reviews are very helpful, whether they're all 5-star or they're a 3-star with, I really like this, but. And I suppose one thing that's always useful with leaving a review that's not a glowing review, but an honest review, leaving an honest review, is to go something positive, something that could be improved, followed by something positive. So it's the thing that's not perfect sandwiched in between two really good things. So you can leave them in my online shop, or for a lot of small businesses now do have reviews in the online shop. And there's also a spot on Facebook to leave reviews for pages, so for businesses, and Google has a spot for leaving reviews as well. Like when I come across a small business and I'm like, oh, I buy from this business, is this a legitimate business? I'll Google it and I'll look at the Google reviews and Facebook as well. And then even better is when there's a product review and I can go, oh, so this isn't a small business, but it's buying a product online. I bought a robot vacuum cleaner. I didn't know a lot about robot vacuum cleaners at the time, so I was reading reviews. And for the one I ended up buying, said it was really good at vacuum cleaning and really smart on how it navigated and everything, but wasn't so good with mopping. And that's turned out to be true. Like I bought it knowing the facts, like, yes, it's going to vacuum excellent. The mopping will need some work, a little bit of attention, but that's okay. And for me, it was like, oh, okay, I can deal with that. I can live with that. I used that when I made my decision as to which one to buy. There's a lot of robot vacuum cleaners out there, but they are very handy. If you don't have one, I highly recommend one. Can't believe it took me so long to get one. So reviews, okay. So telling your friends is good as well, of course, word of mouth. And similar to the reviews, be honest about what you think, and give the good and the bad. And telling your friends, we've done that one. And then maybe just if there's something that's not ideal for you, if you can communicate that, if it's something that you're not really comfortable putting it in a review, pop the person an email, the business owner an email, and let them know. And do the good, bad, good thing, the sandwich. Another thing, and this will be a surprise, another thing that can be really handy for small businesses is to unsubscribe from emails you don't want to read anymore, you don't want to get. Like generally you can always resubscribe to them, especially if they're just the main kind of emails that a business sends out. So there's always a spot on the website to resubscribe. So if you're not going to read them, or if you don't want to read them, don't just push them to spam. Unsubscribe, because that helps the business. The whole email deliverability is this massive, big thing. And unsubscribing rather than just sending to spam makes a world of difference. And even if you start seeing a small business email, small businesses emails in your spam folder, and it is always a good idea to check your spam or your junk folder. I pop in and do mine every day. Just go in and unsubscribe from it. Yep, that's just a handy thing. Another way to support small Australian businesses that you love is, I'm noticing, this is something I've done, and I'm noticing a lot of other small businesses are doing, are memberships or subscriptions. And so if you really love a business, become one of their members, and support them, because that, I suppose from my side of things, that regular membership payment means I can pay the bills, and know that I will be able to pay the bills for the things that I need to pay each month or regularly, like the website fees and all those. And there's so many different things. So many little bits and pieces, kind of like TV subscription streaming services. Like there's this one here and there's this one here and there's this one. And you need all of them. More so for a small businesses, because they make the things work on the website. But it does all add up, and knowing that there is that regular income coming in means it takes some of the stress out of, takes a lot of the stress out of running a small business, and means that I can keep designing and keep creating great stuff for you. So I don't need to be stressing about the money. And that's a big thing about why memberships are so good. And of course, I suppose the big thing with supporting small businesses is if you can and when you can, to shop with them. because at the end of the day, a small business is here to make money. It's not here just to do nice things. We are all here to make money, because it costs to do the things and to have the website. So shopping with your favorite small businesses is definitely a good thing, because it's a business at the end of the day. So, okay, so moving on to what the Homelea Lass kits are like. Let me just check that is our next section. What are the Homelea Lass kits like? And I've put together a little bit of something here to show you. Just to give you an idea about what the kits are like. And like I said earlier on, I make up each kit for you. Once upon a time, I used to have them all made up. So they were in the boxes, all made up, labels on them, ready to go. But over time, I have migrated it, and there's been changes on the website to support this, but I've migrated it to, I make the kit exactly for you with exactly what you like. So they are bespoke and customized just for you, and each one is packaged just for you. So I have a box here. So when you get a Homelea Lass order, most of the time they come in boxes. Sometimes it might be in a bag. And I pack everything, unless you request the gift wrapping or gift box, everything gets packed directly into the shipping box. And it's held securely in place with brown paper or reused recycled paper. And I love packing boxes, actually. I like to pack them in a way that keeps everything safe, but at the same time is an absolute joy for you to open and understand exactly what's in the kit in your box and know what you're going to make. Yes, I had a feeling there was something else I was going to talk about there, but that's okay. So there's a box. Oh yes, I even put some brown paper in to show to remind me to talk about that. So generally, if you've ordered a kit, there'll be a note, unless you request not to have a thank you note, which you can do at the checkout, but you'll have one of these, which says you're making, so this is what your kit is, and that you can access your crochet patterns and online course through your Homelea Lass account. And so always in the kits, you've got some yarn, so what to make it with. So this is the Homely Bliss. And there's an option at checkout now to get your skein wound into a ball. So that's what this is here. And there's always a crochet pattern. So sometimes it's purely online for you to access through your Homelea Lass account, or sometimes there'll be a flyer as well. And if you get a flyer, you do have a web address here too. It's just a little, so if you're giving it as a gift, your person can go in and access that. So flyer. And then depending on what, there are options. It's like if you want to add in scissors, you can. If you want to add in a crochet hook, you can. And sometimes there's the option to add in stitch markers. So that's kind of what to expect from a kit. And I said before, one of the key values of Homelea Lass is supporting small businesses. So just to give you an idea, so the yarn is made in Australia, so fully grown and processed in Australia. These tags are made in Melbourne by a fabulous small business called Hungry Workshop. They've been making them for me for ages, and each one is so special. Each tag is so special. And my yarns now do have the Australian made certification too. And there's always the yarn information on the back and the dye lot. And at the checkout now, you've got the option to just get one tag for your dye lot. So in terms of being gentle on the world that we live in, and reducing weight, I hate throwing out like tags and balls of yarn when I've got the same tag or ball like 10 times. So you can have the option to just get one tag per dye lot. These little doobies are made in Australia too. And our ribbons, which I did the graphic design for them myself when I said I do it all, like I do it all. So these are the ribbons are made in Australia, so they're made with Australian cotton. They're made in Australia, they're made in Melbourne. I can't quite remember the name of the company off the top of my head. It could be Australian Printed Ribbons. And I've designed these so you can cut them up. If you want to cut the Homelea Lass out, you can, but you can cut it up and then just sew on the Made with Love onto what you make. So just put a little stitch in each corner or sew all the way around it. Might want to fold the edge over and iron it down. But yeah, you can sew that on so someone knows that you've handmade it, or just tie this around what you make when you give it to someone too. I thought that could be a fun one. So there was a lot of thought made into these ribbons. So they are very cute. There's lots of ways you can keep using them as well. And the flyers are made in Australia too. So these are done by, mental blank, in Ballarat. They're printed in Ballarat by, I can't even remember the business name now. Anyhow, made in Ballarat by another fabulous small business. And the shipping boxes that I use are all made in Australia as well. Okay, so that's what to expect with the kits. We'll just touch on crochet patterns and online courses as well. We talked about the gift box, and wrapping is optional. It's with some of the kits, it's there. You can add it on if you are giving it as a gift. Complimentary ball winding is available at the checkout for the yards as well. Oh, and 1 yarn tag per dial-up. We talked about all of that already. And there's free worldwide shipping as well. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about the crochet patterns and online courses, what they're like. Doing this because I'm thinking, because I'm going to share my screen with you and just show you one, just to give you an idea of what they're like. Where is it? Here it is. And how to access them. So this is the Homelea Lass website, so homelealass.com. And where I've gone to is go on to account. So that's your Homelea Lass account. So that's your account on the Homelea Lass website. So it has all your bits in it, all your orders. If you've got a membership, it's under subscriptions. And once you've logged in, I've logged in here. Once you've logged in and scroll down, you can see all the crochet patterns and online courses that you have access to. And so it's all in one spot. And then there's this, if you've got a lot of them, because there's been coming to be quite a few crochet patterns and online courses now. There's this little secret squirrel. It's not secret squirrel, but it's not overly obvious. There's a course categories drop down. So just a way of fine tuning which ones you've got. So we're going to go and have a look at the Spring Daisy pattern. So it is, where will we find it? It's on Homewares. So it's in there, hopefully. It'd be funny if it wasn't. Yes, it is. So click on the image once you've found the one you're looking for. You don't have to use the drop down. They are in alphabetical order, so you can just go off the first letter. And this is generally what the crochet patterns and online courses are like. Some aren't quite, so I am in the process of getting them all up to the same standard. So some aren't quite like this, but there are parts that will be similar. And if you ever get lost, just ask me down here and how can I help you? That comes through to me on my phone. So it's definitely the best way to get in contact. So generally what you'll find is either a picture or a video here at the start and some general information about what we're making. And then all the nitty gritty, all the important bits are under that. So it generally starts with ask me your questions, which is a spot to ask me your questions. And then there will be the crochet pattern and chart at the top, a section under that before we start crocheting, like the stuff that you need to know before you start crocheting. And under that is the online course and video tutorials. And if this is the right-handed videos, it'll be the right-handed online course and video tutorials. And if it's a left-handed one, that will say left-handed. And the other way to know which one it is, it's up here in the title, right-handed, and there. So this isn't quite across everything yet, but it's coming to all of them. There's a little thing here to click to go to the left-handed version. Okay, and so if you want to print the crochet pattern or the crochet chart, that's what these bits here are for. I've put them at the top just so they're easy to find. So if you want to just dive in and start making with the videos, just skip those sections. But if you just want to print out the pattern, go to view, download and print the crochet pattern. You've got it here if you want to just look at it, or if here it says download and print the Spring Daisy pattern ebook here, click on that. It opens it up in its own separate tab and you can just print that one out. So there's crochet pattern, then there's the crochet chart. Oh, and you'll see once you click into the online course, there's parts down the side here on the left. The information is there to add the pattern to your Ravelry library, so you can easily do that. And then we kind of dive into the nitty-gritty. So before we start crocheting, so what we're actually making, so there's always an introduction to the pattern, what we're making, kind of a high level of how it's made, because I like for you to have that information. When I'm knitting crocheting, I like to have it. I like to kind of know a high level of what we're making and how I'm going to make it. I don't need the nitty-gritty, but kind of, this is a flower and we start at the center and then we make the petals, and then you've got the option to make the leaves kind of thing. How hard it is, and the size. So just the high level stuff. And then what you need to make it. So get together your yarn, hook, and other tools so you can grab all of that together and be organized before you start, because there's nothing worse than starting to crochet something and then realizing you're missing something. And then we dive into the online course. So under that, so how to follow this online course, what the stitches are, what the crochet terminology is, kind of same again, important information that it's nice to know at the start. And then step by step, what to do. So in the under with all the video tutorials part, I take you through step by step what to do. So there's generally a video at the top, and then underneath it is the words. And then when we dive into the actual crochet pattern making part, underneath the video, you will actually find the crochet pattern written out as well. So if you're kind of learning to read crochet patterns, you can kind of follow along as you're listening to the video and seeing what to do. And then under all the making parts of the crochet pattern and online course, there's a spot there to share a review and leave a review. We talked before that reviews are really helpful for small businesses. So for other customers to know what it's like, and for the small business to improve and also know what's working and what's really valued and what's helpful. And then a spot at the end, congratulations, because we should always celebrate what we make. always need to celebrate what we make and what we achieve. So yeah, so that's kind of the high level of what the crochet patterns and online courses are like and how to get them. So shipping, I think that's our next section. How does shipping work? Because when you're ordering online, and Homelea Lass these days is an online business. I was doing a heap of markets pre-COVID, but just how my chronic fatigue is at present, combined with living in the middle of nowhere, I'm completely online. Homelea Lass is completely online. So, and shipping is a big part of that. And so, like I spoke about before, everything goes into the shipping box. I try and reduce the unnecessary packing materials wherever possible and use Australian made and recycled materials wherever possible, or compostable if it's a bag. There is free worldwide shipping, because I don't want to give you a nasty surprise when you get to the checkout and go, oh, I have to pay extra for this to get it sent to me, because it is an online business. So there's no hidden shipping cost. You can get it shipped to you and sent to you for free. You have the option to upgrade to express shipping if you like. And so I use Australia Post. So it's Australia's Post standard shipping, and then their express shipping. So they deliver everywhere. It's the only one I can send from out here, that I can send from out here as well. And so express from Quilpie, which is where the post office is, that I use the most. It really only kicks in once we're talking about going from capital city to capital city. So your parcel going from Quilpie to Brisbane won't be express, but then it gets priority. Like if you're in Melbourne, it'll be heaps quicker going from Brisbane to Melbourne. We'll say Brisbane to Perth or Brisbane to Adelaide. And then if you're kind of away from the capital city, then it probably slows down again, just depending on where you are. But yeah, so free express shipping is probably valuable if you're a long way away. If you're in Brisbane, it's probably of limited value. You're probably not going to get it all that much quicker, maybe a tiny bit, maybe a day. Yeah, things to Brisbane, to and from Brisbane are pretty quick out here. But yes, so you have the option to upgrade to express shipping. And in Australia, free express shipping is an option if you order over $200. That's pretty cool. And because I am so far away from the post office, orders are sent once a week. And I always have the next shipping day on the top of the website, so you can see the cutoff, when to order by. It's always in Brisbane time, and when to get your order in there. And if you do need something super quick, it's always worth just check with me in the web chat at the bottom right corner, because sometimes I can get an order out quicker than what's on the website. So if something comes up and someone needs to go to town, there's someone coming out here and then they're going back into town, I can get them to drop parcels off at the post office. So sometimes things will be sent quicker than what you expect because things happen during the week and I can get things away quicker. And just if in the odd situation where, for instance, it rains and we can't get to town, I'm always across the weather. I'm generally conservative with the shipping days. So if it looks like it's going to come and rain and we get cut off from town because we have a gravel road, a dirt road, and it happens. If that does happen and your order isn't going to be sent by the date at the top of the website when you order, I'll be in contact and let you know. But I don't think that's actually happened so far. So that's good. But if it does happen, I'll be in contact and let you know, just that, hey, it's not going to be leaving here quite as quickly as I thought it would. Yeah. Yes. So that's shipping. Important stuff. Shipping is important. And then how do I get help? So how can I help you? Or as the customer, how do I get help? I've got questions, I'm not sure about something. How do I get help? My order's hasn't turned up. Oh, I thought it would be on the way by now. Or I can't access my online course. What do I do? I will show you the best way to ask. I'm just looking for it. Where did it go? Here it is. Over here. So remember this was the online course, and there's this little how can I help you? This little how can I help you will show up everywhere on the Homelea Lass website. Sometimes it can be a little bit annoying, but if it is a little bit annoying, see how when I put my cursor over it, there's a little cross. Just click the cross and it'll go away. But if we go back to the home page, you'll see it's there as well. It's this little thing here, the how can I help you sits above it. This little thing here is the web chat. And the web chat comes through to my phone. So you just type in your message here. When will my order be sent? Send. And that comes through to my phone. It's really cool. It comes through to my computer as well. And then this little thing will pop up where it says, hey, I'm a real person, not a bot. What are those little chatty things are bots? That's annoying. But this one is definitely not a bot. I like to respond to your questions. And sometimes I can't respond straight away. I definitely do if I can. Like if it's the middle of the night and I'm asleep, I definitely can't. But pop your email address and your full name, your email address and your name in here, click submit, and I will answer that as soon as I can. I keep the web chat update responses as updated as I definitely can. That's kind of the highest priority. So ask me in here. And if this pops up and it's annoying, look for the little cross and just close it down. But know that if you've got a question for me, I'll get back to you here. So yes, if I can respond straight away, I will. And if I can't, I will respond via email. And we can sort it out that way. But definitely handy if you can't find something or you're just wondering about something, ask me here. Maybe if you want to give me some feedback or something I can improve or do better for you, let me know here. It's definitely a good place to talk to me. So that's how to get help. And what's our next section? Is answering your questions. So if you've got some questions for me, if you're in a Facebook, pop them into the comments. And if you are in Zoom, pop them into the chat and I will answer your questions right now. To do that, I'm going to pop over. I can see the ones in Zoom and just check Facebook. So pop your questions in there. Okay, Angeline, hello. Angeline says, when do you normally have a class? I'm new here and I'm from, please forgive me if no, somewhere with a really cool name in Canada. Is it live or online recorded? So Angeline, my classes, so that my crochet classes and online courses are all pre-recorded for you. You can pop in and grab them and watch them whenever it suits you. But an absolute fabulous question, thank you. But I am doing, so that's the crochet patterns and online courses. They're all there ready to go for you to watch when it suits you. But the virtual studio visits that I'm doing over the next couple of weeks will all be live. So you can pop in and do them live, or you'll be able to watch them later as well. The videos will be able to be watched later in Facebook, and they'll be on my website at homelealass.com in the blog there as well. So thank you for asking that. That's a fabulous question. And so if you've got a question for me, pop in and ask it, and I will answer it for you. And if you think of something later on, remember, you can ask me in the web chat at the bottom right corner of my website. And so we've got another one of these virtual studio visits happening tomorrow at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Brisbane time. We're going to be talking about natural fiber yarns that you can crochet with. And I'm going to take you through the 4 Homelea Lass yarns, the 4 yarns that I stock. Tell you why I stock them, but also tell you all about them, the fiber, where it's made, what it's suited for, what size it is, all the good stuff. So we're going to explore that, and you'll get to see the brand new Homelea Lass yarn that hasn't been released yet, that's so close to being released. So you'll get to see that and see all the colors too. Yes. So thank you so much for joining me in this session. Like I said, if you've got a question for me, ask me in the web chat at the bottom right corner of the Homelea Lass website. And you can find me online at homelealass.com. Thanks for joining me, and I'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye.